Hey guys, it's Sierra Witherspoon and I am a junior psych major in ASU. Today we'll be discussing cognitive dissonance, and in definition, according to Lean Fessinger, it is the discomfort that people feel when two beliefs conflict or when one is inconsistent with their conception of themselves. So it really makes us question our self-worth, and when we question it, how will we be able to fix it? I guess that's what this video is about. Now, what is cognitive dissonance in my own words? In my own words, cognitive dissonance has to be a contradiction, making a decision based off contradiction of your beliefs. So basically, it's like when you have belief of something, but you realize it has a downside, and now that downside changes how you view, but it's like, what are you going to do to make your decision? You're going to do it based off your contradiction that you just found out, or are you going to do it based off of, what you already believe in? Like, you're going to stay stick and stone to what you already believe in, right? So with Lean Fessinger, he performed an observation on a cult. So this cult believed that there's going to be this great flood coming that was going to be mutilating the earth, right? Like mutilating the earth. Now, these people, they came to a decision. Their decision was to lose their jobs and to lose their homes, to move away in protection of this flood. Now, this flood never happened, so they ended up making up the decision for no reason. This is a prime example of how something that you believe in causes you to make a rational or irrational decision because of your own personal beliefs. Now, these people have lost their homes and lost their jobs due to their own personal beliefs. Now, according to Simply Psychology, the things that cause cognitive dissonance are: 1, forced compliance behavior. Number 2, decision making. And number 3, effort. Those are all things that make up the causes of cognitive dissonance. Now, there's a study called The Cognitive Dissonance, a Review of Causes and Marketing Implications. And this study was performed by Dr. Sumai J, Dr. Munai J, and Brashi Balia. Now, this study had to do with how people feel with online shopping. So they were trying to decide what was the relationship framework between online reviews for a product and the consumer's internal beliefs of online retailers before purchasing an item. Now, and how it also affected their decision before purchasing that item. Now, they came to a conclusion, and that was that individuals had more cognitive dissonance when there was a greater inconsistency of someone's personal beliefs of an online retailer and online reviews about the online retailer existed. They also came to the conclusion that people would make their decision based on their own beliefs when they did experience dissonance. So what this really means is, let me just give an example. An example would be a lot of people, well, he said it out his own mouth, Gucci. Gucci said, we just know he doesn't like black people, right? He doesn't like black people. I know this. I know that he doesn't like black people. And this is going to constantly sit in the back of my brain. But I go into a Gucci store and I'm sitting here like, dang, I really like this Gucci outfit, man. Like, that's what I like. But in the back of my brain, I'm like, Gucci does not like black people. So, like, why would I get this, right? But now I'm trying to form in my head justification for me to get these clothes. So I'm like, you know what? I know that he doesn't like black people, and I know that he doesn't want me wearing his clothes. But I like these clothes. and they're gonna look good on me. And those are just my beliefs. Now, there are many ways to reduce cognitive dissonance, but one way we'll be discussing today will be effort dissonance, meaning unlikely effort will cause greater dissonance. Less desire justifies the dissonance that is felt. So there has been another study, all these studies, and performed by Arsenin and Mills. And they had women perform two different kinds of initiation. They had a very intense initiation, while another group of girls had a less intense initiation. Now, during this study, they found out that the girls that had a more intense initiation felt more desirable, more favorable of the group, rather than the girls that, they just didn't do as much to get there. Meaning that, they felt that because they earned their way to get there, that was their justification for the things that they've done, because they've made it that far. All the things that they have done, even if they disagreed with it, has came up to this moment. And that's their justification. That's all they need. That's all they need to move on with their life and be satisfied. All right, hey guys, it's Sierra here again. And this time I'm not alone. I also have Brock Witherspoon here as a guest. Woohoo! Now we're gonna ask Brock a few questions, related to the topic, but he doesn't know what the topic is. So Brock, do you happen to be lactose intolerant?
Yes, I am.
And how does that make you feel?
So it makes me feel excluded from food, because I feel like I can't eat the foods that I would normally enjoy. Like, I love ice cream, but I know if I have ice cream, it's going to make my stomach hurt, and I'm going to have to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
But I love ice cream, so it's like it creates a love-hate relationship between you and food. Okay. But you love the food, and the food hates you. Because
interesting. And
it's really surprising, because lactose really is in a lot of different foods, so it really limits you from more foods than you would expect.
Now, you mentioned that, lactose tolerant and, makes your stomach hurt, right? Now, when's the last time you maybe had some lactose intolerant?
Last night.
Oh, last night. So, with your stomach hurting, I mean, like, why do it? Why eat some ice cream if you know your stomach's gonna be hurting?
So I feel like you still have to enjoy the pleasures of life, even though it may bring a little pain, because I feel like most of the time I might feel a little pain in my stomach anyway. So I might as well, go for a little bit of lactose and, make my day a little better.
Well then, guys, I mean, we've heard from him himself. Give it up for Brock, guys. Now, guys, looking back on that interview, did y'all hear what he said? He said even though his stomach hurts, he'll eat the ice cream just because he wants to enjoy the food pleasures of life. I mean, that right there is literally his justification of making his stomach hurt okay. And that's another perfect example of cognitive dissonance. All right, guys, here we have another interview going on, and this time it's Damian Witherspoon. I mean, can we give it up for Damian?
Everybody.
Now we're gonna ask Damian a few questions. He also doesn't know what we're discussing. So Damian, are you diabetic?
I have been diagnosed with diabetes. Yes.
Okay, and do you like sugar? Have you liked sugar before you had diagnosed with diabetes?
So I used to be a salty guy. I used to not like a lot of sweets, honestly. I did have it every once in a while, even as a kid. Every once in a while, but not extreme.
Not extreme.
But seems like the older I've gotten, the more inclined to sugar I've gotten. So
Got
yeah,
that sweet
yeah, that sweet tooth is real. It's a real thing now. So yeah, it seems like the lately anyway, then it's been worse.
Can you
I guess.
explain like like why though? Like, or when was the last time? When was the last time that you indulged
When was the last time I indulged
this
in
behavior?
sugar?
Yeah.
Just a minute ago, I had some cheesecake, and I feel guilty about it because it is so late. It is so late, and but yeah, so I did have a little dessert with dinner.
So like, why?
Yes.
Why do you do it knowing that you have a condition?
Part of it's probably denial. Probably part of it is I don't feel like I have it that bad, right? So my numbers are on the border. It's not like they're on extreme. So it seems like I feel like I have it kind of under control a little bit, but I mean, technically it's not great, you know. So that's probably. But the temptation is real, right? I mean, it's a real thing. So, I mean, that sugar calls you, you know.
Yeah, it definitely does. Would you say there's anything that would make you like not want to indulge in sugar as often or anymore?
What, like, I mean, obviously, if I got physically ill or something from it, or something like that, or felt like more threatened by it, maybe I probably would take it more seriously, but probably stay away more. But I have been considering it.
Of course, that's all we
Right,
can do.
right. So I've been considering it, but it seems like it always comes back to having it. So yeah, yeah, I'm weak in that regard,
Not
probably.
weak. Just room for improvement.
Yes, room for
It's okay.
improvement. Okay, yes, room
But-
for improvement.
Thank you, Damien, for showing up today and sharing your story with us. Give it up, guys. Woo!
Well, thank you.
Okay. Now, what I have gained from talking to you guys and, you know, from my interviews and from my experiences is that people, you know, always, you know, are going to end up making what we call excuses for things that, you know, that maybe we shouldn't be doing. And I think that's where the cognitive dissonance comes into play. Like, when you're, you know, you think about something and you're thinking about it so heavily, but you're like, nah, like, no, you know, like, so what I've learned from this is that people will find a way to either justify or come together to make a change for themselves or for others, knowing what's right and what's wrong. I think that learning cognitive dissonance is important because it makes you stop and think before you make decisions. It makes you think and be like, am I doing this because, you know, I know this is good, or I know this is bad, or am I doing this just because? And I think when you understand and realize that what you're doing you maybe should not be doing, just let it be that. And don't sit here and make contradictions and, you know, make justifications and excuses for the things that you know you should or should not be doing. And I think that's the whole purpose of learning cognitive dissonance, is so that you know how to stop yourself from making these quote unquote rational and irrational decisions for yourself and others. And today, I leave you with this question. When will you be honest with yourself?